Hole 10 out here at Woodland Park, place 380 through this tight gap off the trees and all the way across this little ravine up next to the road. So this is a little bit of a bomb to start, but a good opportunity to really focus on those changes that we're trying to make, specifically the elbow, keeping the disc on a single plane through the reach back and then coming through with the elbow first and then following through. So keeping the disc flat, eliminating that swoop out of my throw, keeping the elbow above the wrist. A lot of things we're focusing on here. But so far we're seeing great improvement, so let's try and keep it going. We're going with the Undertaker. See if we can't get a good pump down there. A little swoopy, a little high, a little hyzer. So felt decent, but I definitely know that I got that elbow down on the pull through. So that's something I'm really gonna have to watch, is the internal rotation of my shoulder here to keep that elbow up all the way through on the reach back. Let's go one more. We'll go with another Undertaker, really trying to focus on that elbow position. Much better. Yeah, we didn't get a super clean release. You can see a little bit of wobble and didn't really flip up, but we didn't swoop it. You could tell that in the flight of the disc, that the disc didn't come high to low and then launch high out of my hands with that upward nose angle. So happy with that. We're really gonna be focusing more on the form and technique through this round, through these 9 holes, than we are on actually scoring well. But it's gonna be fun to try and throw some good shots while we're out here. Also gives us a little bit of an opportunity to work on our approach game. Once again, we're focused on the arm and the elbow. On these approach shots though, we're actually kind of flipping it. We're getting the disc above the elbow just to get a nice little floaty bit up there. Gives it a little more control. Juice that one just a touch, but actually, 10 feet from the basket. So really focused on those touchy approach shots. Wrist above elbow for those approach shots, just to get a little more control, a little floaty bit in there. So the opposite of what we're trying to do on the drives, we're trying to get the elbow above the wrist. 285, right to left moving shot. We're not playing to that blue basket. We're playing to a red one that's just kind of down the hill a little bit to the left. We're gonna go with a buzz. So the one other thing I'm trying to focus on out here has to do with my plant foot. As I come to go on my X step, what I was doing in the past is stepping way too far out in front of me, which was sending my momentum this way as opposed to actually down the tee pad towards the basket. So I'm really trying to, that final step, come straight out. So that way my momentum carries forward as opposed to kind of falling too far off the tee pad in the wrong direction. So the arm and the final step, those are the focuses. Now I know you're really only supposed to focus on one thing, but we're gonna try two. But let's focus on that elbow, that final step. Oh, I love that shot. Now just finish for me. See, that felt really good. I'm curious to watch back that footage and see how it actually looked. But in terms of the feel, it felt like I did a really good job of staying in line. The elbow felt nice too. I didn't break the wrist as much. Felt like I actually kind of got into the pocket and my elbow led and came out. That was money. Do it. Oh. Hole 12, 202 down the gap. Basket is just left of that yellow arrow. We're going to the red one. We're gonna go with the zone. What I'm gonna do on this hole though, I'm gonna have 2 cameras going so you can see the shot here and then a slow-mo here so we can actually look at the form and see if we're doing what we think we're doing. Because I have felt there's occasionally a disconnect between feel and real. A lot of coaches will talk about that. So I wanna make sure that what I'm feeling is actually what I'm doing. Yeah, pretty good shot. Put it to 15 feet. Let's go ahead and look at the slow-mo footage and see if that looked as good as it felt. All right, so we're looking at the slow-mo footage right now as we scrub through here. We're looking at the elbow position. We're looking that we keep that disc on one plane. I don't want to break the wrist. We're trying to keep that last step. Okay, so we do still break the wrist there a little bit, and you can see right here, we do have still that big swoop. So not quite as good. But let's see, we do lead with the elbow. We get into a decent pog position, although we're still a little early. And the step looks a touch better. So I will say actually, in looking at that, it doesn't look as good as it felt. Still a lot of issues there, but that's why we check the footage. That's why it's so important to record the form. Because a couple big things we really have to focus on, mainly eliminating that disc high, elbow low, because that is causing us to really swoop. So let's focus on that as we keep going. Even though the form wasn't quite what we hoped, the shot worked out great actually. Puts us right there for the easy tap in and easy birdie. Hole 13, 190 straight up the hill, a little left to right moving shot. Since we're focusing on the backhand, we're gonna go with our straight envy. So I think what I'm realizing is part of the reason I'm dipping is because I'm overstriding on this plant foot. So it's causing me, even if I start level, to fall into this position. So as well as stepping out straight, I also want to keep that stride a little smaller instead of falling in, but stepping and then turning. So we'll see if we can't make that little adjustment here on this shot. Well, if that disc wasn't flippy before, it's definitely going to be flippy now. Let's try that one more time, because that doesn't really tell us what we want to know. Once again, not a great result, but I'm trying to really focus on slowing down that next step, planting and then going. Let's try and get up and down from the second shot we threw. Just focus on a nice floaty bit at it. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. It felt smooth, it felt easy. I think I was able to keep the disc pretty flat through the plane. So overall, that feels good. Hole 14, 320-foot shot, slightly downhill to this red basket tucked in on the left. We're gonna put our Z-Buzz at it on maybe just a tiny bit of flex. I'll throw this one twice, once where you're watching from behind so you can see what the form looks like, and then I'll get a side-on view so we can really, once again, look at that elbow, look at that plane, and look at that step, make sure I'm not overstriding. I mean, once again, it felt decent. I do think I still dipped with that elbow a little bit. The result is actually really great. That's like just 10 feet, but I mean, it is feeling good. And I'm also getting more and easier distance, which is a good thing. So we'll continue to iron out these kinks. Let's get a side view real quick, see what that looked like. So as we watch back those two shots, we're definitely still overstriding a touch, and we definitely have a little bit of the disc above the elbow, that up to down, reach back and then pull through. But it does look a little better and incrementally better every throw. That's how we're gonna make this change, slowly but surely. So that's progress. We'll just continue to really focus on that and those cues. This is gonna take a lot of field work, a lot of network in particular, a lot of watching film. It's not gonna happen just in 9 holes out here on the course, but this is a good start, and it's really great to have that instant feedback from watching footage, seeing what we're doing wrong, and then trying to make the correction. Hole 15 is a fun one, 235 over this little valley, left to right moving shot. We're gonna try and go with the envy, the straight to flippy one now. Once again, just right down this gap, let it drift right. See if we can't really focus on being smooth. Yeah, I mean, dead straight, pretty good result, although definitely pumped. Once again, we tried to really simplify. It felt like I went straight back and straight through, but once again, I probably did get a little up. Nice short one here on 16, 193 straight ahead. We're actually gonna try standstill on this one. That way we can preset everything we're trying to change, the stagger, not overstriding, and really just focus on the weight transfer, focus on the plane and the reach back. We don't really need the distance, it's only 200 feet. So we're gonna go with the MV, just try and put it out there on the standstill. And this is kind of where that twirly bird comes in a little bit. Just start to feel that plane. I mean, actually, with the redirect, still kind of a great shot. Let's try that one more time, since we obviously grip locked it a little bit, but that is actually really interesting to kind of get the feel for the twirly bird in terms of the plane work, the hips, the momentum, the weight transfer, then stay in it. Yeah, that one, you know, actually, that's kind of perfect. Interesting. So the second shot of the twirly bird standstill, it's actually a great shot. We pinned it, put it to like 2 feet. Go figure. Hole 17 is a fun one, plays 330. The basket is actually to the right over the road. All that to the right kind of plays OB. So really fun kind of peninsula green. We're just gonna try and pump an undertaker out there, focus on the fundamentals, but let's see if we can't bring it together on an actual distance shot. Try and put a good move on this one. I need a little flip out of it. No, I didn't get it. Yeah, didn't really get fully a hold of that one. I could feel just not a ton of power. I don't think I really got into the pocket much. Let's try that one more time. We have one more undertaker in the bag. This is where I really need to think about leading with the elbow and exploding out with the arm to try and get that power. Much better. Yeah, I mean, that's going way farther, still way too far left, but you could hear it, you could feel it, just a lot more momentum once I got that arm really going. So happy with that. We made it, hole 18, 477 par 4, all the way kind of on this right side, dead straight ahead. Great opportunity to really open up, try and put a move on some of these discs. I will say this round has been really encouraging to me. Even though the form isn't perfect, still some big issues, even though it feels better than it looks. It's encouraging to know that I'm making progress. And to be honest, I felt pretty stagnant in my disc golf game for a long time, which has just been frustrating. And it's kind of sucked a little bit of the fun out of the game. So getting back into the form work, making progress, feeling like distance is coming a little easier. Big, big boost. Let's air one out. Let's finish on a fun one. See if we can't really get this thing to fly. Oh, wow. Hook on up for me. Honestly, kind of a cool full flight. Definitely felt like a decent rip, although you'll notice in that reach back, I broke my wrist. The disc came out of my grip a little. That is my cardinal sin. I've got to fix that, so I'm unhappy about that. And this is where I have to be disciplined, because I can so easily sacrifice form for distance, because I know if I do some of those little things, it's been semi-working for me. I need to be disciplined though. So let's try again, another grace. Main focus, don't break the wrist. Just throw the disc. Yeah, that just felt awkward. That was not supposed to be what that was, but I was so focused on keeping that wrist unbroken. I might have still done it a little bit. One more. Let's slow it down. That felt good. I hope it looked good, because it really felt like I slowed it down, my timing was better, I got this plant foot down before I started pulling through, I tried so hard not to break the wrist. I mean, I'm sure I still swooped it, I'm sure this elbow and disc got above this wrist quite a bit, but it felt good, the flight looked good. Here's our approach, maybe 150 feet in. Just put a berg out there on the standstill. Oh, I like it. I mean, go in, wouldn't that be a great way to finish the round? Ooh. That's pretty close, pretty close. We will tap that in and finish this out. A lot more form work to come. Appreciate you guys hanging out. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. As always, my name is Andrew Wood, the Journey's Destination. Catch you next one. Peace.